Hello and welcome to Chapter 8 lab session of Ymt218 Object-Oriented Programming, and we are discussing questions actually more focused on strings. So we will discuss these questions and keep in mind that we are just focused on strings, so we will try to solve them using string methods or actually strings manipulation. So write a program that prompts, this is the first question, prompts the user to enter an integer number. The number should calculate and display the sum of the entered number's digits. Well, this one is quite familiar. We have studied this before in other programming languages and we know how to do it mathematically, but let's try to do it using strings. Maybe it's easier or maybe more convenient. So the rest of the question is telling us include exception handlers for any potential exceptions. So we may have any exception. The question is telling us include any exception handlers for any case of exception or any exception to be raised. All right, so let's just go straight away to create this program. Let's just write a short comment. Calculates the sum of an integer. Oh, no need an integer number digits. Okay, let's go directly to the main. Let's create a main method. This is not compulsory, as I always say. It's up to you, customize. It depends on your style of programming. I would prefer to go for it. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to receive an integer number from the user. So I will call it num, and I will receive it. For some reason, I will not convert it now to an integer. I won't do that now. Okay, so I'll receive it as a string at the beginning. Input, enter an integer number. Well, I don't need any exception handler now. Why? Because I expect to have anything. I may have anything since I'm not converting the input to an integer, so I may accept any input. There is no problem. Now for the time being, let's create an accumulative sum where we initialize it by 0, so it has no sum. There is no any value yet. So what I'm going to do now, I will just try to do this. Create a block where in this block we will have an attempt of converting the digits to integer. Okay. So now we are having a string, and this string we assume that is digits, composed of digits. Okay? So how about if I loop through the string from the beginning until the end? That means I iterate over the string and consider its elements or its characters as integers and I sum them up. Okay? I can do that, it's possible. So what I'm going to do is I create my accumulative sum using this augmented assignment statement, and I say, I need the loop first, sorry, I just said it, I didn't type it. For character in my string num. Now, what I'm going to do, the character will be summed up, each and every character available in num from the beginning until the end, from the first index until the end, will be summed up with in the accumulative sum. So there is a possibility that this character is not an integer. That's why we are using try. So that we'll consider the case if this one is not exactly an integer. All right. So that will sum them up. This is possible. Okay. Now here what we need to do is we need to display the output. If we don't display it, it will not get any outcome. So we can just say the sum of, we provide this number, num okay, digits is since we are displaying number here, I don't have to have a space. Okay, digits, I display directly the sum. Okay, and then exit the try and go to except. What kind of exceptions I may have? Value error is possible because I'm converting here. Type error is also possible, so let's place value error. This is the most likely we will have exception. Let me put as E as an exception, and then directly I display the default message coming from my system. I don't have to trouble myself displaying things. System will just explain and display to me the type of exception. I can also include, just in case, type error also. It may be raised as E print. Okay, also this type of exception. Now we are done with the main. We can exit the whole main and call it so that we can have some numerical output. Let's try to save and run. Okay, let's try to enter 1, 2, 3, 4 and see how it goes. The sum of 1, 2, 3, 4 digits is 10. Well, 3 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 10. Good. Let's retry again, and this time let's try to intentionally enter something wrong. 1, 2, 3, let's say F. Well, invalid literal for integer with base 10, F. Well, this tells you that there is an exception. So you can't use this type or value, sorry, with an integer. And that's how you handle such an exception in this case. Well, previously as I said, we explained about this kind of scenario or this kind of question where we wrote multiple loops to get every digit and lower the number of digits or the decimal points available in the number, and then like, you know, units, tens, thousands, hundreds, whatever, in a mathematical way. So we needed to have some equation where we divide by 10, integer division, and take the modulus and whatever. So in that case it was a bit tough in mathematics. Now it's much easier using strings. Well, this is convenient because you can use it. Nobody would force you not to use it. If it is applicable, why not? So you can use strings for such an application, and that's the power of using strings in Python. Right, that's enough for this session. I'll record another session for the second question. Until then, have a good time. Goodbye.